Let's be completely honest. You're sick and tired of watching your balance disappear spin after spin. You deposit, you play, you lose. Rinse and repeat. I know exactly how that feels because I've seen it from both sides. For over 10 years, I programmed slot machines. I wrote the code, I set the parameters, I tested the volatility curves, and today I'm going to give you the exact system I used when testing those machines. The same system that eventually cost me my job. This isn't some magical strategy to beat the house edge. That doesn't exist. But this is a survival protocol, a way to protect your bankroll from evaporating in minutes. And here's the logic. If your money lasts longer, you have more opportunities to hit wins. So, yes, technically, this does improve your odds by keeping you in the game. What I'm about to share is the Technician's Test Protocol. It's the same three-phase system we used in quality assurance when evaluating new slot machines. Casinos hate that I'm sharing this because it's designed to identify dead machines fast and move you to live ones before you've burned through your entire bankroll. By the end of this video, you'll have a complete step-by-step system that you can use immediately. Let's start with Phase 1. Phase 1 is what I call the diagnostic phase. You pick any slot machine, you set your stake, and you spin exactly 30 times. Not 27, not 35. Exactly 30. And here's why that number matters from a technical perspective. When I programmed slots, we tested every machine through what we called a minimum evaluation window. That's the smallest number of spins required to observe the machine's behavior pattern without being misled by short-term variance. For most slots, especially high and medium volatility games, 30 spins is that window. It's enough data to see if the machine is executing its pay table properly, if symbols are distributing normally, and if the bonus trigger mechanism is active. In those 30 spins, here's exactly what I'm observing as a technician. First, symbol distribution. I'm watching which symbols land on the reels. Are high-value symbols appearing at a reasonable frequency, or am I seeing only blanks and low-value cards? If I'm 30 spins in and I've seen 0 or 1 high-value symbol, that's a red flag. The virtual reel strips are weighted heavily against premium symbols right now. Second, I'm watching for scatter or bonus symbols. Most modern slots require 3 scatter symbols to trigger the bonus round. In 30 spins of normal operation, you should see at least 1 or 2 scatters appear somewhere on the screen. Not necessarily 3 to trigger, but at least a visual indication that the feature is possible. If I go 30 spins with 0 scatters, the machine is suppressing the bonus trigger. That's a dead machine. Third, I'm observing near-miss frequency. Near misses are when bonus symbols land just off the pay line, creating the illusion that you almost won. Machines are programmed to show these more often than random chance would dictate. It's psychological manipulation. But here's the insider knowledge. Excessive near misses indicate high volatility or a tight cycle. If in 30 spins, I'm seeing near misses on almost every spin, multiple symbols landing just above or below the line, that machine is teasing me without paying. That's not potential. That's a trap. Fourth, I'm tracking win frequency and size. Out of 30 spins, how many resulted in any win? Even small wins count. A healthy medium volatility machine should show wins on roughly 8 to 12 spins out of 30. That's about a 25 to 40% hit rate, which is normal. If I'm seeing 0 to 3 wins in 30 spins, that's below expected frequency. The machine is tight. And critically, I'm looking at win size relative to my bet. If I'm betting $2 per spin and my wins are consistently 40 cents, 60 cents, 80 cents, those are losses disguised as wins. The machine is celebrating outcomes where I'm still losing money. That's a psychological trick. If most of my wins in the first 30 spins are less than my bet size, I'm being slowly drained. After 30 spins, I make a decision. If the machine has shown no signs of life, meaning 0 or minimal wins, no scatters, excessive near misses, and poor symbol distribution, I cash out immediately. No exceptions. That machine is dead. It's not about to wake up. It's not due to hit. It's in a tight configuration, and continuing to play is just feeding the house. But if the machine shows signs of life, at least one decent win that exceeded my bet, a scatter or two appearing, balanced symbol distribution, then I move to Phase 2. The machine has potential. It's breathing. That's enough to continue testing. Phase 2 is the confirmation test. If the machine passed the 30-spin diagnostic, I give it 50 more spins. This isn't blind hope. This is extended observation. In quality assurance, we called this the consistency check. We wanted to see if the machine's initial behavior was a fluke or a pattern. In these 50 spins, I'm still observing, but now I'm looking for consistency. Is the hit frequency holding? Am I still seeing scatter symbols periodically? Are the wins still reasonable relative to my bet size? Or has the machine gone cold after those first 30 spins? Here's what I learned from programming these machines. Volatility comes in waves. A machine can show activity for 30 spins and then go silent for 50. That doesn't mean it's broken. That's just variance. But if a machine showed life in the first 30 and then goes completely dead in the next 50, no wins, no features, balance dropping steadily, that's a pattern shift. The machine is cycling into a cold phase. I don't wait for it to warm up again. I leave. During these 50 spins, I'm also paying attention to my emotional state. This is critical. If I'm feeling frustrated, anxious, or desperate, that's a signal that the machine is manipulating me psychologically. Even if the math says I should continue, if my emotions are compromised, I stop. Psychology is part of the game, and if I'm not in control, the machine is. The 50-spin evaluation has 3 possible outcomes. Outcome 1, the machine continues to show life. I'm getting periodic wins, maybe a small bonus triggers. My balance is holding relatively steady or even increasing. In this case, I stay. The machine is active. I continue playing with discipline, tracking my balance, and ready to exit if it shifts. Outcome 2, the machine goes completely silent. 50 spins, 0 wins, no scatter symbols, balance down 40 to 60% from where I started phase 2. In this case, I leave immediately. The diagnostic was a false positive, or the machine shifted into a tight cycle. Either way, it's draining me now. I cut my losses and find a different machine. Outcome 3, and this is the best one. The machine hits a significant win or triggers a bonus during phase 2. Maybe I hit a bonus round that pays 80 or 100 times my bet. Maybe I land a big line win. In this case, the machine has proven itself. It's live. I lock in profit by pocketing a portion of that win, and I continue playing with house money. But I still maintain discipline. If the machine goes cold after that big hit, I don't chase. I leave while I'm ahead. Here's a real example from when I was testing a Buffalo Gold machine during development. First 30 spins showed decent activity. 2 small wins, 1 scatter symbol appeared, symbol distribution looked normal. I moved to phase 2. At spin 43 of phase 2, the bonus triggered. It paid 112 times my test bet. At that point, the machine had proven itself. I continued testing and it stayed active for another hour of simulated play. That's a live machine. Contrast that with a Wheel of Fortune machine I tested where the first 30 spins showed 1 small win and 1 scatter. I moved to phase 2. The next 50 spins were completely dead. 0 wins, no additional scatters. Balance dropped 62%. I stopped the test. That machine was cold and continuing would have been pointless. Phase 2 is about confirmation. You're not hoping, you're observing, and you're ready to walk away the moment the data tells you to. Now, everything I've described applies to most slot machines, but there's one major exception, and this is critical: pragmatic play slots. If you're playing anything from pragmatic play, the rule changes slightly. Instead of 30 plus 50, it's 30 plus 60. Let me explain why from a technical perspective. Pragmatic play designs their slots with extreme volatility curves. I've studied their math models, and they're built differently than slots from NetEnt, IGT, or other manufacturers. Pragmatic games are designed to go through longer cold streaks followed by massive explosion moments. Their bonus rounds are less frequent but significantly more lucrative. The RTP is backloaded into fewer, bigger events. What this means in practice is that a pragmatic slot can go 60, 80, even 100 spins without giving you anything substantial, and then suddenly hit a bonus that pays 300 or 500 times your bet. If you're using the standard 30 plus 50 rule on a pragmatic slot, you might be cutting the test short right before the machine is about to explode. So for pragmatic play specifically, here's the modified protocol. 30 spins for the diagnostic. Same criteria: symbol distribution, scatter appearance, win frequency. If it shows signs of life, you extend to 60 spins instead of 50. That extra 10 spins accounts for pragmatic's deeper volatility cycles. But the discipline remains the same. If after those 60 spins the machine is still dead, no meaningful wins, no bonus, balance significantly down, you leave. You don't tell yourself, just 10 more. The whole point of this system is to have rules and follow them. Breaking the rules is how you go broke. I want to give you specific pragmatic examples. Big Base Bonanza is a perfect case. The bonus rounds trigger fairly often, and when they do, they can extend mid-round with additional spins and multipliers. If you cut your test at 50 spins, you might miss the spin that triggers the bonus. But at 60 spins, you've given it enough room to show its pattern. Gates of Olympus is another one. It uses cascading wins, not traditional pay lines. One good cascade can turn a losing session into a winning one instantly, and those multipliers can stack. I've seen sessions where a single spin with a 10 times or 15 times multiplier landed mid-cascade, and suddenly a $40 spin turned into a $600 win. But that kind of action can take 55 or 60 spins to develop. That's why Pragmatic gets the extra 10. The Doghouse Megaways is one I personally tested extensively. It's highly volatile, but when it hits massive. I've tracked sessions where nothing happened for 70 spins, and then boom, a mega win came through that covered all losses and put the session deep into profit. 60 spins gives you enough data to catch the beginning of that cycle, but no matter how promising a pragmatic slot looks, you never break the system. 30 plus 60. If it's dead after that, you walk. I don't care if you feel like it's about to hit. Feelings are not data. The system is designed to protect you from your own emotions. Follow it. Now let's talk about the foundation that makes this entire system work: bankroll management. Most players ignore this completely, and that's why they go broke even when they're using a good strategy. If you don't have the bankroll to execute the system can't save you. Here's the math I used when testing slot machines for bankroll sustainability. For high volatility slots, which is what you should be playing with this system, you divide your total available bankroll by 500. That gives you your per spin stake. If you have $1,000 to gamble with, your stake is $2 per spin. If you have $500, your stake is $1. If you only have $100, your stake is 20 cents. Why 500? Because high volatility slots can easily go through cold streaks of 100, 150, even 200 spins without significant wins. You need enough ammunition to survive those streaks and still have money left when the machine finally pays. 500 spins gives you that buffer. It's not being overly cautious. It's being realistic about variance. For lower volatility slots, if you decide to play them, you can divide by 300 instead of 500. Low volatility games pay more frequently, so your bankroll doesn't need to stretch as far. But honestly, with this system, you should be focusing on medium to high volatility. That's where the big wins live. Here's a critical rule. Once you set your stake at the beginning of a session, you never change it mid-session. You don't start at $2, lose for a while, and then jump to $5 hoping to recover faster. That's chasing losses, and it's a guaranteed way to go broke. Your stake is locked. If you're losing at your set stake. If you're winning at your set stake. Consistency is survival. Now here's an advanced technique I used during testing. I would gradually increase my stake as I moved between machines within a session, but only after completing the full diagnostic on one machine and moving to a new one. For example, I'd start the session testing a machine at $2 per spin. After 80 spins, if that machine was dead, I'd move to a new machine and test it at $2.50 or $3. If that one was also dead, the next machine would be at $3.50. The logic is this: if I'm hitting cold machines, my overall bankroll is dropping, so my later tests are with slightly higher stakes relative to my starting bankroll, which compensates for the losses. And if I hit a hot machine early, the increased stakes on later machines scale my profits. But this only works if you're disciplined. You're not chasing. You're strategically scaling within a controlled system. One more thing. Never, ever play with money you can't afford to lose. This is gambling. The house has an edge. Even with the best system, you can have losing sessions. If you're gambling with rent money, bill money, or money you need for survival, you've already lost. Bankroll management starts with only gambling with true disposable income. Let me give you specific slot recommendations where this system performs best, based on my technical knowledge of how these games are programmed. I'm not being paid to promote any of these. These are just the slots where the math and mechanics align well with the Technician's Test Protocol. Book of Dead by Play and Go is the textbook example. It's high volatility, 96.2% RTP, and the bonus round has massive potential. The expanding symbol mechanic means one good bonus can pay 500, 1,000, even 5,000 times your bet. In the 30-spin diagnostic, you'll know quickly if it's live. You'll see book symbols appearing, you'll get small wins that keep your balance stable, or you'll see nothing and leave. I've tested this game extensively, and it responds very clearly to the protocol. It either shows life or it's dead. No ambiguity. Gonzo's Quest by Netent is another strong candidate. The avalanche mechanic, where each consecutive win increases the multiplier up to 15 times, creates explosive potential. The RTP is 95.97%, which is decent, and the game is engaging enough that the 30 plus 50 spins don't feel tedious. What I like about Gonzo's Quest from a technical standpoint is that it has medium-high volatility. It's not as brutal as some pragmatic games, but it still has big win potential. It's a good choice if you're newer to this system and want something less punishing. Starburst is on the lower volatility end, but I'm including it because it's a good option for players who want smoother gameplay. The RTP is 96.09%, and the expanding wilds with respins create frequent action. It won't give you 1,000 times wins, but it also won't drain your bankroll as fast. If you're testing this system for the first time and want to build confidence, Starburst is a safe place to start. Bloodsuckers by Netent is criminally underrated. 98% RTP, which is insanely high for a slot. The bonus game is a pick-and-click coffin feature that's simple but effective. The game has low to medium volatility, so it's not going to give you massive wins, but your money lasts longer, and the bonus triggers fairly often. In 30 spins, you'll absolutely know if it's worth continuing. This is a workhorse slot. Not exciting, but reliable. Now for pragmatic play. Big Base Bonanza is my top recommendation. The bonus rounds trigger more frequently than you'd expect for a pragmatic game, and they have an extension mechanic where fishermen can appear mid-bonus and add more spins or collect additional prizes. The volatility is high, but it's not insane. The RTP is 96.71%. Apply the 60-spin rule, and this game will show you its personality. Gates of Olympus is the one I personally play most when I gamble. The cascading mechanic means you can get multiple wins from a single spin, and those random multipliers that can go up to 500 times, they can appear on any spin, even in base game. I've had sessions where I was already in profit before the bonus even triggered, because a big multiplier hit during regular play. The RTP is 96.5%. It's volatile, but it's fair. 60 spins will tell you everything. Sweet Bonanza is similar to Gates of Olympus with the cascading wins. The RTP is 96.48 to 96.51 depending on the version. It's high volatility, but it feels less punishing than some other pragmatic games. The multipliers in the bonus can stack, and I've seen bonuses that paid over 300 times the triggering bet. Good candidate for the 60-spin protocol. The Doghouse and the Doghouse Megaways are both solid. The original has medium-high volatility, and Megaways is higher. Both have sticky wilds in the bonus that can lead to massive wins. I've tested both extensively, and they respond well to the system. You'll see activity in the diagnostic phase if the machine is live. One slot I specifically want to warn you about: Mega Moolah. It's famous because of the progressive jackpot. People have won millions, but the base game RTP is 88%, which is terrible. The progressive is seeded by that missing 12% of RTP. Unless you're specifically chasing the progressive with the understanding that you're statistically unlikely to hit it, I don't recommend it for this system. The base game will drain you, and the 30-spin diagnostic will almost always show it as dead. Choose your slots based on volatility, RTP, and mechanics that create clear feedback. You want games where 30 spins gives you enough information to make a decision. Avoid anything overly complex or anything with a base RTP below 94%. Now, I need to address why players fail even when using a good system like this. I've shared this protocol with people before, and some of them still lost everything. It's not because the system doesn't work, it's because they didn't follow the rules. Let me tell you the fatal mistakes so you can avoid them. Fatal mistake number 1. using auto spin. When you put the machine on auto spin, you stop observing. You stop thinking. You just watch numbers go down. Auto spin turns you into a passive donor. The entire point of this system is active observation. You're watching symbols, tracking wins, counting spins. If you're using auto spin, you're not executing the protocol. You're just gambling blindly at a faster pace. Never use auto spin with this system. Every spin should be manual and deliberate. Fatal mistake number 2, breaking the spin limits. I've told people 30 spins, and if it's dead, leave. And what do? They hit spin number 31, 32, 40. They tell themselves just a few more because they've already invested 30 spins and don't want to walk away empty-handed. That's sunk cost fallacy, and it's a psychological trap. The 30 spins you already played are gone. They're irrelevant to the decision of whether to continue. If the machine is dead at 30, it's dead. Playing more doesn't change that. It just costs you more money. Fatal mistake number 3, ignoring the signs of death. The system tells you what to look for: win frequency, scatter symbols, balance retention. But players ignore these signals because they want to believe the machine is about to hit. They see one small win at spin 28 and convince themselves it's waking up. No, one win is not enough. You need multiple indicators. If you're at 30 spins with 2 wins, 0 scatters, and balance down 50%, that machine is dead. Leave. Fatal mistake number 4, chasing losses by increasing stake mid-session. You start at $2 per spin. You lose $200. Now you're frustrated and you think, if I bet $5 per spin, I'll get it back faster. That's the exact opposite of disciplined play. That's panic. And panic is how you lose your entire bankroll in 20 minutes. Your stake is set at the beginning. It doesn't change. If you're losing, you accept the loss, regroup, and come back another day. Fatal mistake number 5, playing without adequate bankroll. If you only have $100 and you're betting $2 per spin, you don't have enough to execute this system. You'll bust out before the system has a chance to work. Follow the bankroll rule. Total bankroll divided by 500 equals your stake. If you can't afford to play at a stake that interests you, then you can't afford to play. Save more money or play at micro stakes. Fatal mistake number 6, emotional decision-making. If you're angry, desperate, drunk, or tilted, you cannot execute this system. It requires clear thinking and discipline. I've seen players follow the system perfectly for an hour, lose $200, get frustrated, and then throw the system out the window. They start pressing buttons randomly, increasing bets, chasing losses. At that point, it doesn't matter what system you had. You're gambling emotionally, and emotional gambling always leads to bigger losses. Fatal mistake number 7, not leaving when you hit a big win. This system can help you find live machines and hit significant wins. But if you hit a big win and keep playing without adjusting your mindset, you'll give it all back. When you hit a win that's 50 times your bet or more, you need to pocket at least half of it. Lock in profit. You can continue playing with the rest, but that profit is protected. Don't give the casino a chance to take back everything they just paid you. I'm emphasizing these mistakes because I've watched players destroy themselves even with good information. This system works, but only if you follow it exactly. The moment you start improvising, rationalizing, or breaking the rules, you're just another gambler hoping for luck. I want to tell you why I'm sharing this system and what it cost me. About 2 years before I left the industry, I was consulting for a casino in Las Vegas. Part of my job was analyzing player behavior and machine performance. During this work, I met a regular player, a guy I'll call David. David was losing consistently, every session. $200, $300, $500 gone. One day, David asked me if I had any advice. Technically, I wasn't supposed to give players information like that. It's a conflict of interest. But I liked David, and I felt bad watching him lose. So I told him about the 30-spin diagnostic. I explained it exactly like I've explained to you. Test the machine, observe the signs, leave if it's dead, stay if it's live. David started using the system. Over the next 3 months, his losses dropped dramatically. He went from losing every session to having break-even or winning sessions. He didn't get rich, but he stopped bleeding money. And here's where it got complicated. The casino's player tracking system flagged David's behavioral change. He was playing differently, Shorter sessions on some machines, longer sessions on others. His average loss per visit dropped significantly. The casino operations team investigated. They pulled surveillance footage. They watched David testing machines and moving between them rapidly. They couldn't understand what he was doing until someone reviewed our conversation. I'd been caught on camera explaining the system to him. A week later, I was called into a meeting with casino management and asked to explain why I was teaching players to avoid bad machines. I told them the truth. The system doesn't beat the house edge. It just helps players avoid the worst machines and manage their money better. But the casino didn't see it that way. They saw it as me working against their interests. My contract wasn't renewed. Officially, it was a restructuring. Unofficially, I know what happened. I don't regret it. David thanked me later. He said the system saved him from going completely broke. And now I'm sharing it with you because I believe players deserve to know what I know. Casinos have all the advantages: the math, the psychology, the resources. The least I can do is give you a system that balances the playing field slightly. This won't make you rich, but it will protect you from unnecessary losses. It will keep you in the game longer and give you better chances at hitting wins. And honestly, that's more than most players ever get. The Technician's Test Protocol is your holy grail. It's not magic. It's discipline. It's observation. It's protection from your own impulses and the casino's traps. Let me give you the complete checklist one more time. Step 1. Bankroll divided by 500 equals your stake. Lock it in. Don't change it. Step 2. Pick a slot. Medium to high volatility, 96% RTP or higher. Start the 30-spin diagnostic. Step 3. Observe actively. Symbol distribution, scatter appearance, win frequency, balance retention. Look for signs of life. Step 4. At 30 spins, decide. If it's dead, cash out immediately. No exceptions. If it shows life, move to phase 2. Step 5. 50 more spins for most slots, 60 for pragmatic play. Continue observing. Is it staying consistent or going cold? Step 6. If it goes dead in phase 2, leave. If it stays live or hits big, continue with discipline. Step 7. Manage your emotions. If you're tilted, stop. If you hit big, pocket profit. Never chase losses. That's it. That's the system. Simple in concept, hard in execution because it requires discipline. But if you follow it, you'll outlast 90% of players who gamble blindly. Your bankroll will last longer, your sessions will be more controlled, and your chances of walking away with profit increase significantly. If you made it this far, it means you're serious. You've got the knowledge now. The only question is whether you have the discipline to use it. Save this video. Watch it before every session. Let it be your reminder to play smart, not desperate. And if this system helps you, leave a comment telling me your results. Hit the like button if you're going to use this protocol. And subscribe because my next video exposes what casino managers actually say about players who win too much. The conversation I overheard that disgusted me and confirmed why I had to leave the industry. You need to hear what they really think. Stay disciplined, stay smart, and I'll see you in the next video.